hopefully this will be a quick video. So I'm just setting up some gear to do some tracking for my next release. This is the music I worked on in Lithuania, so it's all done in soft synth. But since I've got back home, I think, well, do have a little bit of hardware knocking around, so I'm just going to reinforce some of the pads. I've had pretty good results using Pigments, mostly Pigments. Pigments is great. Pigments is a VST. I plug in virtual instrument from Arturia. Very powerful, very deep. But today we're going to get the K2 Mark II out, just because my experience with this recording with Silk, and I believe that's on Labyrinth 11, just sounds brilliant. Really fat, juicy, warm and analog, as you might expect for an so what this is an MS20 clone, Korg MS20 classic monosynth from 1978, I'm going to say, I think. This is the second edition from Behringer. They did the first one. This is the Mark II edition. There's a few little tweaks in the Mark II, including it can now run on volts per octave rather than just hertz per octave, like the old school sort of standard for doing control voltage. This has got volts per octave. Although if you've got one of these CM1A modules, you can. And I think that you can't flip that to hertz. That doesn't do that, but it does do the S trig V trig thing. FYI. With the Mark II, actually, I'm just thinking, does that work on S trig or V trig? Don't know. I need to read the manual. But I'm not going to worry too much about the patch bay today. That's the main thing, is just to track some synth. These things sound great, but they do benefit from some effects. So what I've set up is the Korg NTS1, the original one. Partly I think that was on my mind because I was looking at the newer, there's a Mark II version of that. There's the cool Chaos Pad version of that as well that's now available. Like, ooh, tempting. So what this is part of the new tech range. It's a synthesizer, which we might, I don't know whether you can hear that. The levels are very low. So it is a synth, but this is an incredible effects processor. It has a slot for modulation effects, your chorus, your flange, your phaser, those kind of things. I think those are the ones it ships with. An ensemble effect, kind of like a chorus. It has a slot for delay. There's a stereo, there's a mono, there's a ping pong, and there's some other delay. There's reverbs, there's space, there's whatever that is. There's probably a whole reverb, and there's two very cool. There's a shimmer reverb, and there's like a sort of shimmer reverb, but it does a lower octave thing rather than the shimmer octave, which is giving you a higher octave thing. It's called sub basement or something. Very, very cool, and that's what you get out of the box, right? The cool thing with the NTS1 is you can load in. Well, if you're a programmer, you can load in effects that you write, or the effects and synth voices that other developers have developed. So if you're, I think it's C++, C sharp, one of the C languages, you need to know to get that working. But other developers do sort of create third-party effects and sound engines for this thing. Very, very cool. But obviously super portable. I'm just powering it over USB. The main out of the synth is coming into there, and then the headphone out is going to my mixer. That's that brown cable there. And it sounds brilliant. Now, what I like about these setups is, because I perform live, I'm always looking at what's a really compact, nice, portable setup I can use to get good results. And this, I would say, could be one of them. I'm having good success with my taking my little modular on the road at the moment, but this could easily replace that. So these sort of analog synths that Behringer have been knocking out over the past sort of 5 years, they do sound good, but they tend not to ship with effects. So they do sound, better with effects. Let's start with some delay. This is completely dry, and we could dial in different sound, obviously. But let's leave that. I'm using the original filter model, not the new one. Let's start with delay. So you just select the kind of delay you want. We've got a stereo delay, we've got a mono delay, looks like we've got a ping pong delay and a high pass delay. So that's probably a high pass after the delay. And we've got a tape delay. So that's out of the box, haven't loaded these. And then you've got your that's going to be sort of depth time probably, and wet and dry mix. So super simple to sort of get going. Because that's a model of an old analog delay. We're getting the nice time effect there. Oh, just already so much nicer. Let's just dial that a little bit back a bit. If you wanted to do like a tempo sync, there's no kind of, well, I mean, there's MIDI in over like a little, like 3.5 mil. There's sync in and out as well. So you probably could do a tempo sync delay. I've never tried that. I don't know how to do it. That's probably something for another video or another channel even. So that's the delay. Before we start messing around with the crazy reverbs, let's do some mods. This is your chorus. Let's put all the AB controls at 12 o'clock. A bit more. Yeah, lovely. I'm not sure how ensemble is different from chorus, but there's an ensemble effect. Sounds all right. There is a fade, and again, this is out the box effects. You can load third-party effects. Phaser, yeah, phaser's good fun. And we have flanger, my favourite. Just has a nice sound to it. Beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. Let's keep the flange on, so I like it. Let's dial it back a little bit. To my ears, that already sounds like, you know, better. Well, yeah, it does sound better. I mean, you know, the synth sounds good, but it just does sound better with that delay and that flange. Let's dial in some of these crazy reverbs. So we've got a whole reverb out the box. Let's dial that up a bit. Nice. We have a plate reverb. Doesn't sound hugely different to the Hall, but perfectly usable. Space reverb, again, different flavour of reverb. I'm going to probably say this is a bigger room size, right? Oh, lovely. Yeah, you can hear it in those tails. It really likes the analog signal from that synth. And just as a reminder, we're having the mod effect and the delay and the reverb. You know, we're having all three of them. So we've got 3 separate slots for that. So you don't have to choose, can I have reverb or delay? You can have both, plus a modulation effect. Let's just finish up with these crazy. So this is a shimmer reverb called Riser, and again, this is what you get when you get these. Well, I've not tested the Mark II of the NTS1. This is the original one. So these come straight out of the box. This is the shimmer reverb. Can you hear those higher octaves coming in? Nice slow attack, long release. Oh. So that's shimmer, so that's putting in octaves above what you're playing, and then we've got sub basically the reverse of a shimmer reverb, putting in lower octaves. You hear that? This, I almost like this more than the shimmer. Oh, beautiful. Lovely stuff. And obviously, you know, you can dial in those combinations of delay, phaser, flanger, the kind of flavour of delay that what you want, the kind of flavour of reverb you want. Yeah, you know, and just you know, you've got some control, and generally, you know, a wet dry control and a sort of depth, but obviously that parameter is going to be different depending on what the effect is. Ooh. And also, that's also a synth, of course. And yeah, as you're hearing, the synth voice of the NTS1 is also going through those effects. Can you switch off the keyboard so you don't accidentally do that in a live gig? I don't know. Probably. Or you could put some gaffer tape over it. Yeah, I mean, you know, perfectly serviceable as a synth, but if you've got one of these fellas, you know. So I think that's you know, the best way to do it. Nice analog synth, bit of digital loveliness from Korg there. That makes for a nice sound. Right, now next job is to actually use this in my music, not just play with it all morning. I have started to patch some things together. I need to learn the patch bay. I've been watching a loop-hop video about it, really cool. But I will need to sit and play with the patch bay. Let's see if we can get something out of it for an end. Right, let's wrap it up. End jam with the Stylophone DS2 for a bit of dronage action. I couldn't understand how to patch it into the patch bay. I need to work on that. I was hearing something, but I was clearly the drone voice has been affected by the synth, which is kind of the dealio with that thing. But there we go. There's always something new to learn. Next gig details in the description. Was it the 5th today? Oh, my timer's running for some reason. It's the 5th today, so 20th of May, I'm with Sudden Creation, Deformed, and there's one of their artists, I've forgotten their name. Anyway, all the details will be in my description. 45-minute set, unbelievable, longest set I've ever done. It's going to be epic. Anyway, bye. Coffee, 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 coffee. Plungy, plungy, plunge. Alrighty. Let's make a start.